put those
And
players
not only
and let them have their own part of it. If that's
and
so
and
important in baseball, right?
let it be educational to the dangers of steroids and why you shouldn't
Yeah,
do steroids. Make
correct.
it make it the point make the point of that wing of the Hall of Fame or that section be about protecting young
Yeah,
people. Because the problem with steroids aren't, if an adult wants to do a steroid, okay, that's fine because you're an adult, you can make those decisions. But the problem is that if the adult players are doing steroids, then the minor league players have to do steroids to
right.
get into the to be a so the minor leaguers have to do steroids to get to the major leagues. And that means that the college kids have to do steroids to get to the minor leagues, which means that high school kids have to do steroids to get to the minor leagues or to
Right.
get to college, which means
Oh,
that middle schoolers are going to have to do steroids to get to high school. And the problem is that when you have a 14 or 15-year-old starting to take steroids, it's going to wreak havoc on their body, and that's the problem.
no, I
And
I agree.
and then that's why you can't allow adults to do steroids, because I've heard a lot of people say, well, why don't you just let them do steroids? Because as when I was 14, I was 5'3", 105 pounds. There was no way that I was going to be able to compete with someone doing steroids,
Yeah,
even if I was playing baseball. Even
right.
if I was playing baseball, I like to play up the middle. When I was playing first or second base, or second or short, I like to play up the middle, so second or short. And there would be no way that I'd be able to compete with other 14-year-olds who were 6 foot and 200 pounds and could hit the ball a country mile. I just
Yeah,
wouldn't be able to compete with them.
yeah,
And that's why you can't allow steroids in Major League Baseball, because if minor league players, because minor leagues are going to use it, high schoolers are going to use it, middle schoolers are going to use it, and so on down the list.
well, and then too, but as they do, in football, they're getting away not so much on the steroid part, but they're getting away from tackle football at a young age because of the
Hmm.
whole
How
CTE
dangerous it is.
and all that stuff with concussions. So if it comes to a point where steroids are having to be used to gain an edge, like you said, you're going to, and on top of that, you really don't want to be using steroids in your developmental years anyway, because your body goes through changes as we all do in life. We all go through those changes as we grow. You don't want to be using some illegal substance that's going to either, hurt that in any way, shape, or form, because you know what? You can end up screwing somebody up later on in life because they're
Hmm.
trying to gain an edge as a middle schooler, try to get to
Hmm.
play high school football or high school baseball or basketball or whatever sport it might be. I don't think you have to use
Mm.
steroids in golf. I mean, I never had to when I was in high school golf. I don't think we ever even thought about that.
But
Drugs aren't really used in that
but
kind
you
of sport.
can
There's not too
you
much
can use
athletic.
Adderall. You
Yeah,
can use
yeah,
Adderall to play golf.
yes,
And I
we
mean,
can.
and
Absolutely.
I'm
And
I've been on Adderall. Adderall is a hell of a drug.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's if you're if you need Adderall, you need it. If you've been medically evaluated where you need Adderall, you absolutely because it's just living life when you have a medical condition that requires you to take that kind of prescription. You need it, and so it is. But for the general population, that was a huge hit.
yeah,
Um, you know, it's just I don't know, it's just different. But
yeah,
speaking of Hall of Famers, I was listening to your list at the beginning of the show. A lot
yes.
of good names on that list.
I think all of them deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think there's one name on that list that I mentioned earlier in the show. All of them should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if all of them are going to make it, but they all should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, every
I
single one of
think
the players deserves to be
I think
in.
that Wayne and Wayne and Waters will probably have the hardest time going in on that list.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Ricky Waters will probably have a really hard time going in.
Okay.
Um,
What do you? I mean, I think Edgerrin James might. He might be one of.
again, Edge would be that was the
Yeah,
other name that I was trying to. I made a little list here so that I could bring it up later so that I
yeah,
know all the
yeah.
names. Palomalu is going in. Palomalu, he's gonna go in. He'll go in first ballot.
Yep.
I
Steve
think
Atwater
Seymour should go.
I can't believe Steve Atwater should already be in the Hall of Fame.
You would think he would be, but Atwater's a special because he was really more of a special teamer, so it's hard for those guys to go in.
Yeah.
Seymour should go in this year. I don't understand why Hines Ward isn't already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that makes no sense to me.
Yep, there's another one. Yep, there's another one. Yep, I agree with that.
And then and Barber and Lynch. So this year I've got Palomalu, Seymour, Ward, Lynch, and Barber.
That'd be
an excellent. That would be an excellent class. Could you imagine having Troy Polamalu, Richard Seymour, was that Rondé Barber? Yeah, and John Lynch on your back end? You'd be unstoppable.
Oof. You have two of the best safeties in the league, and you have
the best
corners in the league going in. Oh, yeah, man. And
one of the best.
Seymour was a good defensive line player. Oof.
Oh, he was a great end. He was great on the end.
That would be. And then you have Simeon Rice too. He was mentioned.
I'd love to see Rice go in, but I think it's going to be hard for him to go in because he really didn't play a long time, and he wasn't really dominant. He was only dominant for about a year and a half, and then the injuries kind of bit him. I'd love to see him in because he's one of my favorite defensive linemen of all time. Just a great defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should go in, but I think it's going to be hard for him to go in because of his lack of longevity.
Right. Like I said, there's a bunch of names on that list. All the offensive guards. I think there's two of them that I mentioned earlier. Both of them are in the Hall of Fame. By God,
Hutch should be already in there.
Yeah.
Hutchinson was the greatest.
Yeah.
He played right tackle. He's one of the best right tackles who ever laced him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
His nephew plays at Michigan now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, he's starting D tackle for Michigan now. He's been a beast. Keep an eye on that.
He decided to play on the opposite side of the ball than his uncle did. There you
go. Yeah. His dad, Chris Hutchinson, Steve's brother, played D.
So he fought after his dad. Okay, so he fought after his dad.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
But he's been, and I don't understand how Steve Hutchinson. It's been 3 years and he's not in the Hall of Fame. How the hell does that happen?
Yeah, well, you got to have an offensive line to have a quarterback. That's how.
Look at the difference between. I'm not going to be able to. I can see his face. He was on Madden. 37 for the Hawks. Help me here. Sean Alexander. When Hutchinson was there playing right tackle, they were dominant. They were unstoppable. When he leaves, and Alexander gets the tough turf toe.
Yeah.
And he's never really the same. He's never really the same again. And then Hutchinson goes to Minnesota, and Adrian Peterson sets the world on fire.
Yep.
Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame?
That's a good question. Good question.
And then Alan Faneca. That was the other. Yeah. I think he was a right tackle. Right tackle.
Right tackle. Yes. There's another one that.
Because it was. Weren't they? No, Faneca was in Pittsburgh, right?
Correct. Yeah, he
was a beast. He was a beast. He was one of the best. He was a right tackle, I believe. Could you imagine that, having Alan Faneca and
Hutchinson in the same?
Oh, that would on the same team.
Yeah, same side of the ball. If you're a left-handed or right-handed quarterback, you wouldn't have to worry about your blind side. You'd be okay. Hey, I'm good.
Right.
I don't got to worry about someone coming on my blind side because I got that covered.
That's pretty much it.
I can see the guys coming from the left side, but I don't have to worry about them coming behind my back and nailing me in the turf. So it's like I said, but all of them, Clay Matthews Sr., now that's Clay Matthews' dad. I didn't know that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. I didn't know that.
I don't know
thought
if he's a Hall of Famer or not. He was one of the ones that I was borderline on.
Borderline? Okay. All right.
I'd have to look up his numbers and see how they compare to hit when he played,
Okay.
and guys that had his similar numbers to him. I don't know if he's got comparative numbers because I don't think he ever won a title.
I don't believe so. I don't think he was on a Super Bowl team. I don't think so.
So
I don't think his son hasn't either. I don't think. Or was he on the team when they beat
Clay? I think he was there in 2010 when they beat the Steelers. But I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how Hines Ward isn't already in already.
Yeah, Hines Ward, Bruce. I don't know how Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce aren't in.
And Steve Tasker. Steve Tasker is another one who I can't believe isn't in there yet either. For Buffalo Bills fans out there.
Yeah. I mean, he was great. He was an instrumental part in their championship runs.
Yeah. All four of them. All four of them.
Okay,
so, yeah.
I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, who was the kicker? I cannot remember the kicker's name now. I used to know it offhand.
Norwood?
I'm not right. Yeah, Norwood.
Okay,
let's say he makes that kick. Do they go back to any Super Bowls?
I think so. They have the whole nucleus of that team was still intact.
Okay, does anyone stay? How many people, do you think people stay, or do you think they go chasing money?
Well, I would say back in that era, I would say probably a year or 2 years. After that, no. I mean, because you had Kelly, Thomas, Reed, Talley, Smith. I mean, you go down the list of how many good players played on that Buffalo Bills team from those 4 seasons. If Norwood makes that kick, well, first of all, Norwood would still be in the league because when he missed the kick, he was done. He never played again. He was gone.
Right.
The Bills got a new kicker the following season.
It's good.
So, yeah, I would say but at least a year, 2 years after they won, if they had beat the Giants here in Tampa at the old Tampa Stadium, not the new one, not Raymond James.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say at least a year or 2 after. You had that team was so good. Those teams were so good. It's a shame, that Jim Kelly couldn't win one. Thurman Thomas couldn't win because they were so good. Andre Reed is another one who was a good player. Darryl Talley, Bruce Smith. All 5 of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. But what I'm saying is I can't believe that that they couldn't get a ring. That it's a shame to me to look at this when you say you have players like Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer, and no offense to either one of the quarterbacks, have a ring, but Dan Marino and Jim Kelly don't. That just baffles me.
Right.
It's just.
I mean, guys like doesn't Plunkett have a ring?
I don't know. He was part of those.
One with the ring?
I don't know. I have to look that up. I'll have to take it on.
Right.
Jim Plunkett.
It's funny. It's funny that those guys, that Dilfer and Brad Johnson, they have rings, and Steve Young only has one.
Yeah, he only has one. That's right. Yeah, he only has one. Let's see.
Who else? Eli's got 2. You should have 0.
Well, don't tell Giants fans that. Well, yeah, because Patriot fans were pissed because we'd already have 8.
We got breaking news.
Go ahead, bud.
Breaking right now. The corner for the Cardinals, Shaw, has been suspended indefinitely for betting on games.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that just literally broke right now.
Okay.
I'm sitting here. I got the Michigan basketball game. I'm watching Michigan and Gonzaga, and it just flashed across the ticker. Speaking of Pete Rose.
All right, let's see. Jim Plunkett, does he have a Super Bowl win? He might have one, but with the Raiders.
I think he won. Was he there in 83?
He might. Let's see. Yes, he does have a Super Bowl win. He was in 1981.
81.
When they beat the Redskins. And the Redskins. He completed 13 of 21 for 261 and 3 touchdown passes. Let's see, touchdown pass to Kenny King in the first quarter on his way to becoming the second Heisman winner